Thank you. Before we proceed further, I want to recognize a couple of people. The narrator of the video, Sona, are you here? I guess not. And of course, Kannan. He's our videographer, director. In fact, he stayed up all night, he tells me, putting the finishing touches on the video. So it's brand new. You're the first to see the video, and hope you liked it. If you have any feedback, feel free to write to me or call me and let me know, and we'll incorporate any improvements as we go forward with this video. Okay, so with that, I'd like to get the program formally started by inviting Professor David Koilpillai, Dean of Planning and Alumni Affairs, to welcome the audience.
Good morning. As an alumnus, I was delighted to see the movie that they have produced. I think the applause that you gave them just didn't do justice. Let's give Professor Nagarajan and his team a really big round of applause. Dear alumni, those who have graduated yesterday and those from the years past, and especially the batch of 86, 87, those who are celebrating their silver reunions, family members, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Koilpillai from the Department of Electrical Engineering and batch of 84. Very happy to see a few people who were at the Institute around the time that we were students. Alumni Day is a very special day. It's a special day when we welcome back those who have been students many years ago. And this year we have the added dimension that we're also welcoming those who received their convocation degrees in yesterday's convocation. And hopefully for each of them, it will be a sneak preview of the nostalgia that former students feel for their alma mater even after 25 years. The Office of Alumni Affairs and IIT Madras Alumni Association have worked hard to put together a very engaging program for you for the entire day. We are indeed very happy that you are here, some of you with your family members, to make Alumni Day a very special and a memorable day. 2 years back, our batch of 84 celebrated our silver reunion. Just before the reunion, I took a good look at our batch photo, taken 25 years earlier. Fortunately, I had written down the names of all the friends, classmates, and I thought I was ready to recognize all my friends on reunion day. I was in for a big surprise. It was amazing to see how people had changed in 25 years. Now looking very distinguished, very respectable, some of them corporate executives, very successful entrepreneurs, faculty members, professional musicians, and even a film producer. Most people just starting to show the signs of middle age. Maybe the losing battle of the bulge, a tinge of gray. One of my classmates remarked, "Koil, what happened to your hair?" And I often tell my friends, I'm not so much concerned that my hair has turned gray. I'm just happy that I still have a few left. After all, in an academic institution, gray hair is a sign of experience and wisdom, so I'm happy for that. To the batch of 2012, you may not be able to relate this, but if you're an alumnus of earlier vintage, I'm sure you understand. As you go around the campus this morning and this afternoon, I'm sure you will see the old hostels. You saw some pictures of them. The hostels now have an extra floor of rooms. The place that we used to call our mess or the dining facility now has additional rooms added. New hostels are coming up. New buildings have been added. More buildings are on the way. I'm sure you have an exciting report in the director's speech later this morning. Over the years, IIT Madras has worked extremely hard to preserve the natural beauty that we have and the natural charm of this campus in spite of the required growth. Earlier this month, we completed a census of the animals that we have on campus, and I'm happy to report that we now have about 400 spotted deer and about 21 black buck. We have a protected habitat for deer, and it's always a joy to hear that they are thriving and doing well in spite of the growth that we have around us. I'm sure as you walk around the campus, you will see these animals that add to the natural beauty. Since some of you are from the 80s, I thought I would share just a word of nostalgia. Sometimes students today ask me, what student life was back in the 70s and 80s. These kids just don't relate to a time when the hostels had just one landline telephone, which most of the time did not work, or if all the students gathering together in the common room to watch volume on a small TV, or show up at OAT for the Saturday movie. They just don't relate to these things. So I just sort of tell them what we recollected after 25 years when we met for our silver reunion. We remembered, I think quite a few of the classmates of our batchmates actually remembered that in our year, JEE South Zone had done exceptionally well. All India ranks 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10 were from South Zone and actually chose to come to IIT Madras. And all but one of them had chosen electrical engineering. And that was the year IIT Madras decided to introduce a new system of grading called relative grading. I think most of you know it as RG today. And as one very insightful faculty member explained it to us, he said in the old system, if you got 80%, you were guaranteed a top grade. It used to be A in our time, it's S today. But he said, with relative grading, you can get 80% and you can still get a C because the majority of the class got 100%. So, that was really good news for us because that was the introduction to RG. To make matters worse, IIT Madras also announced that we were the part of a 5-year BTech batch. It used to be 5 years, and they said, the government has changed its views. Now, from now on, BTech would only be 4. Now, talk about getting RG. This was our first year in the institute, and we were introduced to that. But 25 years later, these things that seemed like life and death to us at that time were just things that we recollected and fondly recollected and just laughed about. And I think that's what Alumni Day allows us to do. Just come back to the place where we started and just look back on the good old times. Some major changes that you will see in IIT Madras today. When we were students, incoming class was a batch of about 230 to 250. Next week, when we welcome the new batch, it will be 800 plus. We had 4 batches when we were in first year. I'm told this year it will be 12 batches when they come to MA 101. So it's an interesting change. We have grown. Our department facilities have grown. Classrooms, laboratories, workshops, everything has grown, expanded to accommodate the larger number of students. But more importantly, as we crossed the Golden Jubilee mark, IIT Madras did a self-evaluation. We also looked, it was a time of celebrating what had happened in the first 50 years, but it was also a time to look ahead and recognize that as we look into the next 50 years, IIT Madras is transforming itself into a research-focused institution. We see IIT Madras in the process of inspiring, innovating, and transforming itself into a research-focused institution. To that end, the last academic year, 2011-12, the institute has invested over rupees 100 crores in setting up new research facilities across the various departments. And we see this process continuing in the years to come. So this is an exciting metamorphosis, and I hope you will get glimpses of that as you go through the campus this day. Being an alumnus, every part of the campus has special memories. Sometimes I go back to the old hockey grounds to watch the students play, and magically the clock goes back many years to remind myself of the memories of the games that we played there. Every once in a while, I also stand on the outside corridor of electrical engineering just to watch the students go back to the hostels in the evening. I remember in the good old days, it used to be groups of students. In fact, I could even recollect our own group walking back to the classroom chatting non-stop, about who had done a disastrous experiment in the lab, or, we might have gotten our exam papers back, who had aced the exam, who was heading for a supplementary. It was full of things that was discussed. Or maybe about Professor RKR, who day after day had students enthralled about the insights and the intrigues of electronics. So it was non-stop chatter all the way back. But things have changed today. Students don't seem to be going in these large groups, and even when they are walking together, they're all talking on their cell phones, not to each other, but to somebody else, or they're busy texting. And it seems like life has become very crowded. The poet William Henry Davis captured it beautifully when he wrote in his poem, especially relevant for a campus like ours, a poem called Leisure. What is this life if full of care we have no time to stand and stare? No time to stand beneath the boughs and stare as long as sheep or cows. No time to see when woods we pass, where squirrels hide their nuts in grass. A poor life this, if full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. I trust today will be different for each of you who is gathered here, a time to let the clock go back many years, a time when we didn't have so much pressure of doing things, a time to relive the nostalgic memories of the past, maybe even switching off your cell phones and just enjoying your classmates and friends. And if you will, a time to stand and stare. A time to revisit with your loved ones this campus and many parts and places of this campus that have played a role in transforming you into who you are today. Ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope that you will enjoy every moment of Alumni Day 2012. This is your day. We are happy to be your hosts. Welcome to our beautiful campus, and to the alumni, welcome home. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I will now give a brief presentation on the activities of the Office of Alumni Affairs. And later I will invite Vivek Jha from the IIT Madras Alumni Association to describe some of the activities under the Alumni Association umbrella. It always confuses our alumni, unfortunately, why we have two different offices. We have the Office of Alumni Affairs, which is part of the institute, and we have the Alumni Association, which is a private body with elected office bearers and so on. Hopefully these presentations will help clarify our roles and responsibilities. So the Office of Alumni Affairs essentially has two major objectives in its mission: to promote institute alumni relations and to raise funds for the benefit of the institute as well as its various stakeholders. Now, recently, we have essentially taken on a third mission objective, which implicitly assumes that we have done a reasonable job on the first two aspects. The Office of Alumni Affairs has definitely scaled up its efforts, first under the stewardship of Professor K.N. Satyanarayana, who was the advisor of Office of Alumni Affairs before me, and now the last 3 years plus that I have been doing this. I think we have spent a lot of time on building the base, the alumni relations. And I think, as we will see later, our fundraising is also looking reasonably healthy. So we think that now it's time, essentially, to take our alumni relations to the next level and really start thinking about how we can use our alumni as catalysts to intensify our external engagements. As Professor Bhaskar mentioned in the video, we are now looking to see how alumni can really help us with building academic collaborations, research collaborations, industry and corporate relations, as well as entrepreneurial initiatives. Next. So the OEA mission statement has remained unchanged over the years. We are still the primary out-facing window from the institute to the alumni. There are two programs that we administer which have a significant impact on the alumni community as well as the institute. The first is the Distinguished Alumnus Award Program. Each year, 6 to 8 of our alumni are elected as distinguished alumni. And by the way, if you want to nominate someone, please visit our website, alumni.iitm.ac.in. We have now made the process completely online, so it just takes a few minutes to nominate somebody for the Distinguished Alumnus Award. A second program that has had a huge impact on our student community especially is the Travel Grant Program. I think there are several students here who are recipients of the travel grants administered by the Office of Alumni Affairs. In fact, I think a couple of them have actually volunteered to say a few things about the program. Is Anna Lakshmi here? Or Neha? Okay, I guess they're still in the IIT student mode. They will come later, I guess. But several students, each year, roughly 100 to 200 students actually benefit from the travel grant program. Is there any recipient of the travel grant in the audience? Do you want to just say a few words?
Hello, everyone. I am Kedar Kulkarni. I would like to talk about initiative taken by alumni in 2010. So 2010, we were representing India and IIT at a competition known as International Aerial Robotics Competition. And it's a very premier aero robotics competition in the world with participation from teams like MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon University, around 8 teams in the world. So it was a Herculean effort in IIT when this project started, and we had only about a month when we knew that we are definitely going there and participating. And the Dean Students Office decided to fund us to about 3 lakh rupees, which was enough for 2 people to go there. So with this short time, we had not thought we will be getting anything. But I met Professor Nagarajan sir, and I don't know how he pulled it off, but from somewhere, suddenly, in a matter of 10 days, we had about 3.7 lakh rupees, which ensured that 5 members of the team from all, 1 member from every subsystem could represent IIT Madras there. And because of that, I think a lot of things changed. The team was overall ranked 3rd among all the participating teams, and the computer vision subsystem was the best in the world that time among all the teams. So I would really like to thank Nagarajan sir for the Herculean effort that he took then. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kedar. We also do fundraising, and I will talk about that a little more later. And registering of alumni into the database is something that we share as a responsibility with the Alumni Association. Next. So we serve the student community in many ways, particularly seeking scholarships and awards and instituting the scholarships and awards. You may have noticed that in convocation yesterday, virtually all the awards are now sponsored. Till a few years ago, many of the awards were institute funded, and now I think we are at a stage where virtually 100% of all awards that are given to students on Institute Day as well as convocation are funded by alumni and other well-wishers. And in fact, we have had a spillover of awards, and that's why some of the awards are actually being given today on Alumni Day as well. Serving the faculty community is something we take seriously also. Whenever faculty, for example, visit a city, especially abroad, we inform the local alumni there and make sure that they hook up with each other. And this program has worked very well over the years. And finally, serving the alumni community in many ways in partnership with the Alumni Association. Next. So some of the key initiatives that we have introduced recently, we now have 3 major annual meetings on campus where alumni congregate in large numbers. In April, the day after Institute Day is now celebrated as PG Confluence Day, also as DA Day. And this is to recognize in particular our large PG student community, which many may not realize is actually in excess of our UG student population. How many here are PG students? Great. I'm happy to see that a sizable number of you are here. Obviously, we would like the PG students to get involved in alumni activities to the same extent as our UG students, but we realize that in order for that to happen, we need to build the bridges here while you're still students at the institute, and we will try to do more and more of that as we go along. We have instituted of course, today is Alumni Day, and in December, in conjunction with the Silver Union of the batch for the year, we have something called Reunion Day, to which all alumni are invited as well. We have initiated a leadership lecture series I think many of you have benefited from lectures that have been given since last December by many of our alumni in leadership positions in various segments of industry, as well as many of our very successful entrepreneurs have come and addressed the students. And I think the students have really gained a lot. And in fact, from recent discussions, particularly on the entrepreneurship front, the leadership lectures seem to have had a huge impact on the students' thinking in terms of whether to become entrepreneurs or not. The Gajendra circles of dedicated alumni are working together on very, very specific aspects that are of interest to the institute and trying to drive various measures. Next. We organize or participate in various off-campus meetings. There are chapter meetings that are held in various cities, again in conjunction with the Alumni Association, where we bring the director as well as deans face-to-face with alumni in the various cities to give a chance for first-hand interaction. Visits abroad. We just recently came back from a visit to the US. It was a whirlwind tour where we covered 7 cities in 11 days. I think Professor Bhaskar and I are still trying to recover from the jet lag associated with that trip. Pan IIT alumni meets provide us another opportunity to interact with our alumni as well as alumni of various other IITs. The next one actually will be in Kolkata in December. And especially, I think that 2012 graduates, I would certainly welcome you to attend the Pan IIT meeting. It's an excellent opportunity, not only for networking, but also to find out what you can do for nation building. I mentioned the faculty alumni network earlier. Next. We have initiated 3 new offices or centers within the framework of the first 2 within the framework of the Office of Alumni Affairs, and of course the Center for Innovation was featured in the video, and many of you are very, very familiar with it, but perhaps the first 2 you may not be as conversant with. So IITM Cares was funded by the 1984 batch that David is a part of and Satya is a part of. And again, Seaside, IITM Cares got a good introduction in the video from Mr. Rajan, who is the principal coordinator. Rajan, are you here? So Mr. Rajan heads our IITM Cares office, which is really set up to intensify interactions between alumni and the institute and make sure that the initial contacts materialize into something tangible. CSI is our, again, our social innovation initiative, which was featured in the video. I believe Nishant is here. Nishant works with CSI, and it's building a very essential bridge between student innovators and student enterprises. It's providing them the right kind of background and training to turn them into successful social entrepreneurs. Next. So communications remain a very important focal item for us. There are emails, monthly newsletters, which are sent out by the Alumni Association, to which Office of Alumni Affairs contributes a piece. Our databases have been consolidated so that we all now have access to all alumni information. An improved website. We have been publishing an annual giving report for the last 2 years. And of course, the video that you just saw and the one that we made a couple of years ago are ways to, again, communicate the impact that alumni have had on the campus and the community. We are also planning to post periodic messages from the director on YouTube so that he can reach a global audience in as short and effective manner as possible. Next. So fundraising is something that has been essentially driven by volunteers. We are not set up with a professional development organization. That's a tactical and strategic decision that was made many years ago, and we are continuing to operate in that mode. But we are lucky to have some very, very dedicated alumni volunteers who have been providing serious help in terms of strategizing as well as executing many of our fundraising schemes. I know a few of them are here. Can I ask our Golden Jubilee Alumni Fundraising Committee volunteers to stand up and be recognized? DC, Vishi, Gautam, Alamelu, Satya, Srinivasan. I want to thank them. These are people that come every week, Wednesdays at 4 o'clock, rain or shine, holiday or no holiday, and I think it's been fantastic. The last 3 years, all the progress that we've made, and particularly in the fundraising aspect, I would certainly dedicate to this team of alumni volunteers. We now have a donor wall of fame in the SAC building. I hope some of you had a chance to see that when you were at convocation yesterday. It's a way of recognition, and I think it certainly makes people feel good to know that their contributions are being acknowledged. We now, of course, have dedicated websites in India as well as the US to facilitate online donations. Next.